Assalamu alaikum, it's your brother Asif here doing another drive time vlog, and it's the same time of the afternoon, and again it's the same old drive. So what do I want to talk about today? Today is the 3rd, 4th, I think it's the 5th of March today, yeah? 5th of March today. So 5th of March today is supposed to be International Women's Day. International Women's Day. Now, what does that mean to me and you? I guess being a man, you don't really participate in the Women's Day, but what does it mean to women? What does it mean to Muslim women? What is International Women's Day? What is it all about? Why did it start off? Do women feel inclusive? The fact that they're being recognized and they're being given a day to celebrate or to be remembered or to be recognized? Is that what being a woman has become, that now the world has to recognize your position, your status? So for me, being a man, talking about Women's Day, you might think, what's he talking about here? What's going on? Just stick to what you know. Don't talk about these issues here. But look, every day, every event that's created, as a Muslim, we don't look at it in isolation. We don't just engage in everything and not attach any political thinking behind it. As a Muslim, it's important that we have political awareness. So these days that are generated, organized, we need to understand them in context of what they are and why they are. It's one thing celebrating them, it's another thing understanding what they represent. Now, living in the West here, we can look at the reality of women. Women have struggled in this society. They've struggled for position, they've struggled for power, for status, they've struggled for ownership. I remember reading a book many years ago, and in there were conferences held and debates being taken place from the Christians, the Greeks, these different civilizations, and they were discussing the role of women, what position women played in society, what status they have in society. We know that pre-Islamic era, that women had no status, they had no rights of ownership. And even in this country, you look back within the last 100 years, last 60 years, you say women weren't given any rights. Whatever was a man's, and the woman had no ownership of anything. She wasn't entitled to many things. And you see the oppression of the system. The oppression of the system has led to certain movements and ideologies to come out of that. So what you've got here, reality, is you've got a feminist kind of movement that's been born out of the persecution and oppression that women have felt. Women have felt that they've not been fairly treated in society. They've not been given equal opportunities. That's how they want to see them. There's many things that are there's a disparity in the way men and women are treated, and women see the standard that men have as equality. So they're judging equality based upon what a man does. A man does this, he gets that. So why does a woman get less? Why shouldn't a woman be equal to a man? So now we are measuring progress and a benchmark according to the opposite gender. Now we know in Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave men and women different roles. He's made them equal in the eyes of Allah. In the eyes of Allah, an action that you do is equal. A man doesn't get more reward than a woman. A woman gets the same reward. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has defined the role of the woman and defined the role of the man, and given them statuses according to their creation. So a man has certain responsibilities, a woman has a responsibility. They don't clash, they don't contradict, and they don't compete, because it's not about the battle of the sexes. Here in the West, you find a woman and a man, they're constantly, there's a struggle, there's a conflict between the genders. So you had the feminist ideology being born out of this back and forth, this oppression of man and a man-made system oppressing the woman, making the woman feel inferior, giving her less rights, etc., etc. So out of that, feminism was born. So what is feminism as an ideology? It's basically a reactionary movement that was brought about into existence because of what was going on, because of the difficulty and the hardship the women were facing. So we can see from the very premise, this way of thinking, or this philosophy, hasn't got a rational premise, but more of a reactionary premise. You've seen a reality, and hence as a result of it, something was born out of that to change that and alter that. And we know from Islam has put men and women on a equal platform. So when a woman does an action, she raises her children, she looks after her family, her reward is equal to the man going out and working, not less, maybe far more in certain aspects of what she does. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has elevated the status of the woman. She doesn't have to go out in society and prove herself to men or prove herself to whatever institutions exist out there. She has a position with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the woman in the Quran, gives her that elevated status. But we find our women have become victims of secularism. Hence they feel a strong inclination to do the same thing, to become like the women of the West. And let's take example of this society and look at it. We see prostitution. We look at the porn industry. You look at the way women are packaged, and now you've got women of different kind of orientations, different kind of attitudes. There's no uniform in the way we view this situation. It's very fluid. Things are always changing. They talk about gender fluidity. Fluidity in general, we can say, is being impacted and affected all the time. You don't find consistency in anything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Quran 1400 years ago, and the rules and laws and principles remain as they are. And there's a consistency that you find in our deen. This is one of the magnificence of the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whereas secular society, the laws and the parameters and the moral compasses that these people use, they change according to each generation. Something new is introduced, they change it, and so forth and so forth. And this goes on and on and on. It seems never ending. So we need to be very careful how we culture our women, culture our daughters and our sisters and our mothers, and what kind of information we put in their minds. We need to be careful that we don't adopt the secular mentality and philosophy to how we view society and how we view women. I think it's very clear that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through the Quran and through the Sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he makes it very evident and very clear how we should view women in society. Whereas you find in Western societies, they don't ascribe Islamic principles as success or as kind of dignified or honorary. To them, a woman is not dignified if she's at home. She's oppressed or she's persecuted. That's why she's working in the home. She's raising her children. These kind of roles have become kind of medieval, old age kind of ideas that women need to move away from, and they need to be more liberal. They need to be more modernized. They need to be doing different things. They need to be career women. They need to also manage their households. Now, Islam does not forbid a woman from pursuing a career, but Islam puts the criteria and the priorities in place for her. So this is something that we need to think about, and we need to think, and we need to educate our sisters, our mothers, our female companions. This is something that's really key for our thinking, because our children that are being raised now, what kind of environment are you going to raise them in? What kind of ideas are you going to feed them? We're going to celebrate these kind of ideas and concepts that represent Western values. They don't represent Islamic values. So have a think about that. That's all it was, thought-provoking idea. Think about International Women's Day. put it into context, understand why this movement began. It came out of an oppression, came out of persecution. Women were being oppressed for their right, not given any rights. Hence they marked a day after the women. That's all it was, guys. Assalamu alaikum. See you again.